Hi everyone, this is Priska. Welcome to Unsung Heroes MSU Editions. I'm here in front of the Campus Rec office to meet our first guest. Let's go! Hi Todd.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
It's good to see you again.
Good seeing you as well. Thank you for accepting to be part of our Unsung Heroes MSU Series edition. You're our first guest. And I would like to ask you if you can introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Yeah. My name's Todd Pfingsten. I'm the Director of Campus Recreation here at Minnesota State University, Mankato. I've been in my role in my 26th year at the university. But prior to that, I was also the Interim Director of Recreation here at MSU from 1990 to 1993. So 3.5 years there, and then I went to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and worked in their Campus Recreation Department for 6 years before coming back to Mankato and being the director since 1999.
Oh, wow.
But retirement's on the horizon for me because I'm looking at retiring in January of 2026, so about 9.5 months from now.
Well, you mentioned that quite a few months ago, and that's actually the reason behind this, because I was like, you know what? It deserves his flowers, and we should record something and just have him tell his stories and like post it somewhere where people will be able to see it, but he will also be able to see it later on whenever he feels like it wants to remember MSU. So thank you for doing this.
Sure.
Do you mind sharing a little bit of your story?
Sure, I'll do that. My recreation experience started when I was 18 years old. I played high school basketball and high school golf in Worthington, Minnesota, about 100 miles southwest of here. But when I was 18, I was a senior in high school, and I played on the high school basketball team. They had an intramural league for those students that didn't play on the high school team but still wanted to play an organized basketball league. They needed sports officials. They needed basketball officials. And I raised my hand and said, I'll do it. And 41 years later, I'm still reffing basketball.
Oh, wow.
So that's where my love of recreation, I guess, started. I've always loved sports. So when I was a freshman in college, I went to junior college for 2 years. I officiated intramural basketball and some other sports too. I umped some baseball and a few other things. I played some college golf as well. And when I transferred here to Minnesota State Mankato in the fall of 1986, I worked in campus recreation. I had a work-study job, and I worked in the office, but I also officiated intramural basketball, some flag football, umped some softball, officiated some broomball. And I started getting involved in scheduling and programming intramural sports leagues at that time. And I worked in the rec center. It wasn't Auto Recreation Center as we know it today. It looked a little different. But I worked in the weight room and I worked in the office, and so I worked for campus recreation at that time. And I was an accounting and finance major, working on a double major, along with a speech minor.
Wow.
But my out-of-classroom experience was really in recreation. I played intramurals, played pickup basketball, and then I worked here. And my boss at the time, Marge Hodap, who was my first mentor in this field of recreation, she asked me one day, hey, would you be interested in working in the office with me, helping me out with budget and student payroll and all that? Because she wore two hats. She taught classes, academic classes in sport management, and then she was also the director of recreation. And she needed some help because she knew I was an accounting and finance major and I like numbers. And I said, sure, happy to help. And I was probably 2 or 3 weeks into it, and I asked probably the smartest question I have ever asked. Marge, how do I get your job? Because I liked the environment. I liked working in sports and recreation. Mm-hmm. And she told me, you're going to need a minimum of a master's degree to be in my shoes. She had a PhD because she was teaching graduate level classes.
Okay.
But she said to work specifically as a director of campus recreation, you would need a minimum of a master's degree. So I pursued that. Unfortunately for Marge, she went on sick leave in the spring of 1990, and she had colon cancer.
Oh, wow.
And they found out, I had just graduated in the fall of '89, and I was approached and said, hey, I hear you're between jobs. The dean of the College of Allied Health and Nursing approached me at a basketball game in Auto Rec Center. It used to be called Auto Arena. It's where the Mavericks played basketball.
Okay.
And he approached me and said, hey, are you interested in being the acting director while Marge is on sick leave, but fully intending her to get healthy and come back. Unfortunately, she didn't. Colon cancer got her, and she passed away. And I was here for 3.5 years as the acting director of campus recreation, but I also worked on my master's degree at that time. So I was working full-time, going to school full-time, working on a master's in sport management. And I completed that in the summer of 1993. And that's where I went. I thought, you know what? I don't know everything I need to know about this world of recreation. I need to go someplace else and learn.
Okay.
So I got a job at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I was there for 6 years. And that's really where I learned everything from one of the best professional staffs in the country, along with programs and facilities at the University of Nebraska. I learned everything about campus recreation and how a program should run, and funding, and working with student government to secure funding to run a quality program for our students. And then in the summer of 1999, I wasn't looking for another job, a new job. I wasn't. Very happy. My wife and I were very happy in Lincoln, Nebraska, working at the university. And I was at a conference for campus recreation called NIRSA, National Intramural Recreational Sports Association, in Milwaukee. And Henry Morris was there, our vice president for diversity, right?
Oh.
Equity, diversity, equity, inclusion. And I had known Henry from my years from 90 to 93 when I was in Mankato. And we connected, and I shared my resume with him because he was looking for a new director of campus recreation for MSU, my old job. And so I sat down with Henry at this conference in Milwaukee, and he looked at my resume, and we visited, and he said, Todd, I think you should apply. So I did. And kind of the rest is history. I started this back in my role in August of 1999, and campus recreation at that time looked drastically different than it does today from a lot of perspectives. So it looked a lot like when I left in 93. 6 years later, it looked quite the same.
Okay.
It was myself and 5 graduate assistants. The student fee-funded portion of our budget was about $70,000. And I'll share with you today what you as students approved a couple weeks ago is over $900,000 of student fees just for campus recreation.
Wow.
So what that has done is change the staff of 1 full-time professional and 5 graduate assistants to 6 full-time professionals, 2 graduate assistants, 150 student employees, and wonderful facilities that I did not have access to when I was an undergrad and grad student. I just did a little calculation just yesterday in preparation for this. And including Taylor Center, we've built around $60 million of sports and recreation facilities since 1999.
Wow.
But about 42 million of that has directly impacted campus recreation. Campus recreation really doesn't use Taylor Center. But from the field house to everything between the field house and the recreation center, including the pool, remodeling Shelburne Gym, remodeling Pennington Hall and adding rooms there, but the remodel to the recreation center in 2004 and 5, that was an absolute home run for campus recreation on our campus. We went from having limited hours, around the noon hour and then evenings and weekends, to having a recreation facility over about 100 hours a week. From 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Thursday, we're open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Fridays, 11 to 7 Saturday, 1 to 11 on Sunday, which is about 100 hours that the general student has access to. We were sharing those facilities in the past with athletics and then classes, but now we've got a dedicated recreation center. And then I think about in 2008, the students approved a $7 million proposal to rebuild our outdoor facilities. And that's the campus rec facility fee that you see on your tuition and fee bill today of $30 per semester. That's paying for $7 million of outdoor recreation spaces that we have on campus. So flag football, softball, rugby, lacrosse, soccer fields, a new outdoor track, a fitness trail, disc golf course, outdoor climbing wall, ropes course, all that. So we had space and fields at the time when I was an undergrad and grad student, but they weren't very good quality spaces. No irrigation, so the fields weren't watered. They didn't drain very well. They were very undulating. They weren't level. And now we've got wonderful recreation facilities, outdoor spaces. And then in 2018, we've talked about this sports dome for probably 15 years.
Oh.
And in 2018, we got serious about it and started talking to the students even more about it. In fact, back in 2008-9, when we built the outdoor fields, part of a referendum that failed one year was a sports dome.
Oh.
And that particular referendum failed, not by much. So the students came back and said to me, hey, let's take a look at something smaller in scope. So we went from a $14 million proposal to a $7 million proposal, and that's when the students passed that one in 2008, and we have those outdoor fields. So the dome conversation came up again in 2017 and 18, and that's when it went to a student referendum, and the students said, yes, we want a sports dome. So with synthetic fake grass, synthetic turf. So just think about all those sports that I just mentioned on those outdoor fields of rugby, lacrosse, soccer, ultimate frisbee, flag football, softball, all those sports, baseball, all those sports in the winter months have moved indoors on turf. So they can practice, because in the past they would be in the field house and in Shelburne Gym taking up gym space that normally would get used for basketball and volleyball. And now those outdoor sports are moved to a sports dome with synthetic turf. And that has truly been beyond my imagination that we would get that funded as well. So really been exciting to be a part of that. You know, when we talk between $40 million that's affected campus recreation, but $60 million overall with Taylor Center. It's one of the best basketball arenas in Division II. It's just a wonderful space. You know, there's a few other things on the horizon. You know, like I said, I plan on retiring in January of 26. The infield of the outdoor track is a natural grass field, and we use that space heavily for club soccer, for intramural outdoor soccer in the fall, and for just pickup soccer. Students want to just play pickup games in that space. And it gets used so much in the fall, it just gets beat up that sometimes in the spring we can't play on it because we need to rehab it and reseed it and all that, and it has to sit in the spring and in the summer to get ready for the next fall. So that's maybe the last big project that I wanted to see get done during my time here. And it's going to get accomplished, but maybe, you know, the summer after I leave, but all the planning and everything is going to go on and be put in place, and the funding and everything like that. So it's been a good career. It's been very exciting, the years that, and I don't take credit for it. I don't want credit for it. I've led the charge. I've told the story to student government and to politicians and to a lot of people, upper administration. But the students have said, yes, this is what we want, and we're willing to fund it. And maybe I should just bring in one more little piece. This all stemmed from a survey of students back in about 1998 when I was at the University of Nebraska. A survey of our MSU students came back with results, and they said, what do you want more of? And they said, we want access to better quality recreation facilities and programs. And that's what Henry Morris, when we talked and he interviewed me, he said, that's our commitment, that we're going to do this for the students. We need somebody to lead the charge. And that really got me interested in coming back to MSU so I could make a difference. So the experience would be better in the future than what I had as an undergrad and graduate student, because I knew what we had or what we didn't have, and I knew what they had at the University of Nebraska, the 6 years I spent there, and I wanted that same for our students back at MSU, my alma mater. That's kind of my story. It's been a wonderful career. Yeah.
I like how your eyes literally lit up when you're talking about recreation. It shows that you truly have passion for what you do. You've kind of mentioned how you got to come back to MSU after leaving to Nebraska, but I was, you know, during the years that you've been here, a lot of things have happened. For instance, I was not born in America, but I know that a lot of people were worried when we were going to the 21st century, didn't know if we would make it.
Yeah.
You know, in 2008, there was the Great Recession, the U.S. recession. There was, people thought that the world would end in 2012. We had COVID in 2020. A lot of things have happened. But you stayed. You stayed for as long as you wanted to, up until the point where you decided that you wanted to retire.
Yeah.
What about MSU made you want to stay all these years?
number one, as I mentioned, it was my alma mater, but it's felt like home. It's been a wonderful area to raise our children. My wife taught part-time here for 19 years in the Human Performance Department. But we've got 3 grown children. They're 28, 26, and 24. And two or three of them have degrees from MSU.
Oh, wow.
The other one doesn't have a degree from here, but he worked here during the summer so he could work for Sam on the ropes course in Rockwall.
Okay.
And so not only has it been home, but when I came back in '99, it was an opportunity for me, like I said, to help lead a charge to bring recreation and that experience, that out-of-classroom experience to our students that, like I said, that I didn't have. I've always had a passion for sports and recreation, but what I truly found was a passion for working with students. You've kept me young over the years. You've challenged me. You've pushed me. You've brought a lot of smiles to my face, and you've made this home. And I'm indebted to MSU for the career that I have, because it's just been wonderful to make a difference in students' lives. Because we know that campus recreation is an integral part of the out-of-classroom experience. So it helps recruit students, and for sure it helps retain students. That they get involved not only for exercise and recreation and to stay healthy and to be strong, but to meet people and make connections, lifelong friends, things like that. That has been so rewarding for me. And then in the last 5 years, I've been involved in coaching golf at the institution. It was, I vividly remember Kevin Beisman, our athletic director, called me up on a Saturday morning and he said, "Todd, we're in a transition phase with our golf program. I've got an interim head golf coach, but Nick Campa, who was for over 30 years our women's golf coach, and he was 82 years old at the time, he needed some assistance to help run the men's golf program." And I checked with my boss and my staff, and they said, "Sure, we can make this happen. If you want to do it, you can go ahead." So it was going to be 1 semester, and I'm in my 5th year now helping coach the golf teams, and I found a new purpose. I found that, and I've always done some coaching as my kids were young. I helped coach soccer and basketball and softball and some of those types of sports. But my passion has always been basketball and golf. And what I found coaching college students, because I did coach high school golf for my son as well, but what I found in coaching college men and college women was something beyond my wildest dreams. That I would find a new purpose, because those connections, those relationships that I've developed with students that are not only very skilled but just really fun, solid people, and getting to know them at a much deeper level. Because when you travel with them, we stay out for sometimes 4 or 5 nights at a time to a week at a time when you're traveling and competing and going through the highs and lows of it's mental maturity and physical development and all those. You really get to know people, and that has been very rewarding for me over the last 5 years. And I can say the most rewarding thing has been working with students. The toughest and most challenging thing at times has been working with students. But I'll be able to look back on my career and say, you know what, I did what I wanted to do. It gave me purpose. It was fulfilling. Provided a good income so I could support my family. But yeah, it's given me a lot of self-satisfaction, and it still does. But at my age, at 60. There's other things that my wife and I want to do. And it's time to travel. It's time to spend more time with our kids who have moved on, and one's in Omaha and 2 are in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And we want to travel the country and the world, and we want to do some other things. And we can do that, but I want to do it at an age where I'm still young enough where I can get around and be active and do it, because at a point you get to an age where you just can't do it anymore. I'm not getting any younger. So,
you've kind of answered one of the questions that I had, but I still wanted to ask it again. I feel like every single person has something that we call the essence of being yourself. It's like a set of things that make you you, that helps people differentiate you from other people. When you look at MSU in particular, specifically, how would you say the institution has helped you remain yourself while interacting with those different departments and interacting with everything that you've been involved in on campus?
You know, this big thing we call Minnesota State Mankato is very bureaucratic, and it's just a big, slow-moving thing. And I've just been one part of that, right? And tried to make a difference at my level as the director of campus recreation. I can say, growing up on the farm, I worked hard, that we had to. So work ethic has been something that's been very important to me. And I'm a doer. I'm not a person who's just going to sit behind the desk. So oftentimes, you know, if there's a piece of equipment that needs to be fixed, I might get my maintenance guy to help out. But I'm a doer, and I go out and do it myself because that's just the way I am. And I enjoy being out there with our students so they can see and they can learn as well. I don't know if I'm answering that question very well, but I'm just more of a doer. And I've had success doing that. I see other people in high positions at the university. They have to be in a lot of meetings and things like that, and so am I. But when it comes time to get things done, I'm not going to have our students and other staff do things that I'm not willing to do. I'm just not going to delegate those things. I'm going to be in there getting my hands dirty and fixing equipment and setting up the dome for collegiate softball games, whether it's nights or weekends or whatever it takes. I'm here to do my job. And I think we've done it pretty well over the years. We've worked hard, but we play hard. You know, I have a lot of fun outside of work, but I thoroughly enjoyed my job, and my wife and I talk about it often. I still really enjoy coming to work. And when I finish up on January 23rd of 2026, I'm going to miss this place. I really am. But I'm not going to stop working. I'm going to find a part-time job because I can't just give all this up. Basketball, officiating, coaching golf, and working my campus recreation job. I can't I'll give it all up, but I have to do something else to fill that time. I'm too active and involved and want to be a part of things. And the other thing I'll say, I'm a people person. I've always been a people person. That's given me joy and purpose, whether it's in my current role, whether it's reffing high school and college basketball, which I did for 41 years, 31 years at the high school varsity level, 20 years at the college level. The people you meet, the relationships that you develop doing that, coaching golf, and doing what I do in my day job at Campus Rec has really been fulfilling and rewarding. And it's just been fun. I've had a good career and a good run. And I'll be able to walk away next January and say, you know what? I've left Campus Recreation at MSU in a better spot than when I came in.
Okay.
And in and of itself, right there, might answer the question that you asked, that we've made a difference, but I give students the credit. I may have told the story, I may have had a vision, I may have had a strategic plan, and we fulfilled that. Not perfect, but we've worked hard over the years and we've had a lot of success, and the students are appreciative. I know they are. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's been a labor of love. Period. I've just really enjoyed what I've done.
I'm sorry, I'm crying. I have been fortunate enough to be part of student government for the past 2 academic years.
Yeah.
And as you know, we have those trivia nights or like competitions between staff and students every semester. If there's one thing that I've noticed, it's how genuine your connection has been with different faculty, regardless of their department. I've seen you talk with people from like the counseling center or like, I don't know, advising center. It's just people that might not have a direct connection with the campus, right? But still, during those moments, it felt like you guys were brothers, or like, you know, you've been in this together long enough to just show that fraternal love. What would you say has helped you build those long-lasting relationships, or how have you built those long-lasting relationships?
That's how I grew up. Faith, family, and friends. That's how my parents set the stage. I'm the youngest of 8, but that's how my parents set the stage, that family is extremely important, and then friends. And to be genuine, to be honest, to be real. And that's one thing that sometimes I'm too direct, but I'm real, and I'm not a phony when it comes to how I interact with students, how I interact with faculty and staff, and I have a genuine love for them. I do. I look at the staff. I work closely with our supervisors in the recreation center, because you have meetings with them more often than some of the other student workers. With our 2 golf teams, you have very close interactions with them, and sometimes it's those hard conversations that you're not making it in the classroom, or you're not performing on the golf course, and we've got to step it up here. But it's just being real. But you know what the heart of it all is? We're here to serve students. And I think in our Student Affairs Division, and also the faculty and other staff that I run into at the university, but especially in Student Affairs, we're here to serve students. We're here to give students that out-of-classroom experience that enhances what you're doing in the classroom so you can be successful. Today, tomorrow, after graduation, have a successful career, a successful life, raising a family. That's what it's about. But that's how I was raised, that people are the most important resource we have. And I genuinely enjoy people in our interactions. And like I said, I've got 3 adult children, and to see them on campus, some of the most rewarding times are when my daughter, who was the oldest, and my other son, who was the youngest, they'd stop by my office and to see me when they were living on campus or whatever, just to say, "Hi, Dad, it's good to see you." That is rewarding. It's rewarding when people like you come in just to visit. I have golfers that come in to visit, other staff that just come in to say hi. And those people that are alums that come back to see you and that stay connected through phone calls and texts. And here's the other thing I do for the student employees that I know of their birthdays. They get a birthday message from me every year, and I have for years and years. So maybe you graduated 15 years ago. If you're in my calendar, you're going to get a birthday text or a phone call. Yeah, wow. You're going to get that from me. And what's neat is when I hear a response back and say, "You know what? I look forward to this every year." Oh. That's cool. Yeah, that's me. I'm a small town farm kid is what I am. And I've gotten opportunities, and I've taken advantage of those opportunities, and I've had very good mentors along the way, and I've run with it. I've developed some good leadership skills over the years. The other thing I'll say is my staff, and I've got 6 full-time staff who work for me. I mentioned earlier that there's 7 full-time staff who work here, but one of them works just at the Dome, is not a part of student activity fee funding, and that's Alex Schmitz. He's also the golf coach, so I report to him for golf. He reports to me to run the Dome. It's an interesting relationship. But I've got longevity here, and people don't leave when they come to work in campus recreation. Ryan Stevens, our intramural sports, sport club, and open recreation coordinator, has been with me for 25 years. He worked for me he was an undergrad student at Nebraska. And he was working a biology degree, but he was working in campus recreation at Nebraska. I'll never forget the conversation that he had with myself and another colleague. He said, "I'm working on this biology degree, and I'm going to graduate with that, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But I love recreation." He said, can you guys give me some direction? So he went to Virginia Tech, got a master's degree in health promotion, and I hired him right out of his graduate school, a graduate degree, because I had a full-time position open in 2000, a year after I started back here, and he's been with me since.
Oh, he's an OG.
Yeah, so he's been with me for 25 years. Sam Steiger's been with me since 2011. Ben and Carly have been with me since 2012, 12 or 13. Wow. So I think we've set the stage to be hardworking but fun environment where we're student-centered, student-focused. We're here to serve students. And we also serve faculty, staff, and alums, but our primary goal, and it always will be, is to serve students. And I have a little different philosophy than other people have about it, and I learned it at Nebraska, that we try to get, when we talk about student fees, we try to get funding from the entire student body, okay, to run our programs. And that way, when you walk in the door just to work out in the rec center, you don't have to pay an additional fee to do that. Some schools do, but they don't get the funding support from the overall student body. So they have a facility fee or whatever to charge students just to walk in the rec center. You know, we charge for some sport clubs because they travel a lot. We charge an intramural team sport, but it's not a lot. But we don't charge to use the rock wall. We don't charge to go to yoga classes, to any of our fitness classes, or general use of the recreation center. And you know what? It gets more students involved because they don't have to pay more out of pocket.
Yeah.
You're paying a lot in student fees, no question, but it's across the entire student body. So it's a little bit less that each individual that wants to use our programs and services has to pay. That is a philosophy that I brought from Nebraska, and it's worked. Because we just want students happy, healthy, successful, and we think by physical activity it prepares them to get back in the classroom and be successful.
To be honest with you, up until I got to the U.S., the only sport I had ever played were soccer, football, and basketball. I played a little bit of tennis, but I've done so much more here than in the 18 years that I were back home, because again, a lot of things, it was either you know someone who has a place where you can play, or you have to pay like for a membership somewhere. And so just knowing that I had access to the auto rec, like if I have a summer class, you bet you'll see me every single day here doing something, or like playing basketball because I miss it, or something of that sort. So it works.
To hang out with people, to get some exercise, very healthy. So back to your question, or back to your point about these activities that we offer, student government versus student affairs challenges. Some of the most fun that we have each semester, and David Jones will say the same thing, and David's my supervisor, Vice President Jones, that the bowling event that we had last night, and the interaction between students, the trivia contest, the kickball event that we had in the Dome last fall. We've played wiffle ball in the past. We've played softball in the past with student government, against student government as a student affairs staff. Some of the most fun that we have, and I think the students enjoy it too. A little competition, a little exercise, but a lot of networking, right? It's just been, last night was just a blast. Just thoroughly enjoyed it, because a lot of these are my last too. I'm not going to be doing these again because when I retire. So I'm just enjoying it all, having no regrets. I have a plan, but I've just enjoyed it, and I'm enjoying these last. My last basketball game I officiated was about 3 weeks ago, high school game. My last golf coaching opportunities are going to be coming up here in the next month. But I'm good with it. I'm good being done, because I've had a good career, and like I said, campus recreation at Minnesota State is going to be in a better place than when I came here. And it's been fun leading that charge, but the students have really supported it, and they've just been a blast. All the student governments that I've worked with over the years for funding, and not just for operations like we did the past couple of weeks, but for $7 million proposals for facilities on a few different occasions, and the students have said, yes, we want this.
As a director, you had to make a lot of decisions. A lot of things were coming your way throughout those 25 plus years. Has there ever been a moment where you felt like just giving up, or quitting, or going away, or like, I don't know, starting over somewhere else, maybe going back to Nebraska? Was there ever, did something happen maybe once that made you feel like, maybe I want to go, I'm ready to go? And if there were, what would that be?
I'm going to say a resounding no.
Oh.
But
wow.
Let me expand on that a little bit. I've had many opportunities to apply for other director jobs at larger institutions, Big Ten institutions, big Division I institutions, and been nominated for these from people I used to work with at Nebraska. And I've said no, and I've said no because my work at MSU was not done. It's still not done. And as I said earlier, I feel that this is home, and I've been just almost indebted to MSU for what they've given me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my undergraduate experience was really good. The opportunity I was in the right place at the right time when my boss went on sick leave, and they needed somebody to fill in, and I took advantage of the opportunity. And she was just a wonderful soul, Marge, and unfortunately when she passed, that was sad. But it provided me an opportunity, and we took what Marge had done and just took it to the next level after I left for 6 years and learned everything else I needed to know about campus recreation and how to build a really good program. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
You talked about having 3 children, but when I hear you talk about campus rec, it feels like it's your 4th one.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, it is. There's students and the staff too, you know, that I've become very, very close with. They're like family. But some of the student employees that I've worked in campus recreation, now some of the student athletes that I've coached. One woman in particular, she's like a second daughter for me. That's been really cool. Yeah, very good player, but her and I just had a connection, and you don't get that often, because I'm very close with my wife and my kids. They're the most important thing, and the most important thing you'll do in your life is have a family, raise kids. If that's what you choose to do, it'll be the most important thing you'll ever do in your life. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And now, my oldest is married, and if at some point they have grandchildren, I'd love to be a grandparent. That'd be pretty cool. And you know, I've been a mentor for many, right?
Yeah.
All these years. That's been really rewarding too, to see other students that have worked in recreation go on to be professionals in this field. So that's been rewarding, all the way from recreation professionals to sports officials. I've got many students that have worked for us in the past that are high school and collegiate officials. One tried to get to the NBA, but that just makes you feel good when you had maybe a small piece, small part in their development, whether leadership development or their skill, whatever it might be. Yeah, I mean, I can talk all day about this, but it's just been a very rewarding career. And I don't think I'm going to have any regrets. I'm going to miss some people. I won't necessarily miss the work. I'm busy, and that's okay, because I love what I do. But I'm going to miss the people. Yeah. The faculty, the staff, and the students that come and go. You get really close with them. Yeah.
You've talked extensively about your time here, but I was wondering, what is the legacy that you hope to leave behind once you've retired from MSU?
Really, it's just the students that and the staff that work after me, that there's going to be quality facilities, programs, services in place that I didn't have when I was an undergrad and graduate student at the university, that hopefully the leadership stays strong and the support for campus recreation stays strong, because I'm already having conversations with my staff and with Dr. Jones and even architects and engineers about this new Blakesley Stadium project that is going to be just bigger than a football stadium. It's going to be a lot on the south side of campus, that they keep in mind that recreation is one of the most important things in college students' lives. It truly is. I don't need my name on a building. I don't need any of that stuff. I just want students to have access to the things that are important to them. And I know in my heart that recreation, sports and recreation and competition are really important things in people's lives. Enriches them, keeps them healthy, keeps them fit. You know, when it comes to all the things in our world, with obesity and illnesses and diseases and all that. If you eat right, you rest, you get some sleep, and you recreate, and you work out, and you lift weights, and you do some of those things, you're going to live a long, healthier, happier life. Yeah. And I'm good with that. I really am.
If there is a message that you would want to share with the campus rec crew, like something that you would want them to carry on from your time here, what would that be?
Students first. That's the reason why we have jobs. Put ourselves back in those shoes when we were students, undergrad and graduate students, and what was important to you at the time, and why do you work in this field. But students stay student-centered, student-focused, because they deserve it, and they're paying for it. But yeah.
As a student, I thank you for that.
Yeah, I enjoyed my undergraduate experience. I was involved. I played. I won intramural championships. When I first lived in the residence halls, we put a team together and played softball, and we were awful. We didn't win anything, but man, did we have fun. Mm-hmm. What a great group of guys and gals that we played men's softball, we played co-rec softball, and we had so much fun. And we weren't good. But it was just the people that you were hanging with, that you were living with on that residence hall floor. And I still stay connected to those people to this day, a few of them. Yeah.
I have one last question for you. If you were able to talk with yourself back in August of 1999, when you just had this position, what would you say to yourself, your younger self or your 1999 self?
That's a really good question. Be a leader. Be a mentor. Work hard. Love. Laugh. You got to have a good sense of humor when you're working with college students.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself. Yeah. Have a strong faith. Treat others like you would want to be treated. Be kind. The world needs more of that. The world needs leader and people that are kind. That's really important. Yeah. Yeah. We need that. And we work at an institution where, there's a lot of opinions, both sides of things, but just to be a good listener too. And you don't always have to speak, but to listen, because you can learn a lot by listening, for sure. Yeah. I've made mistakes over the years, but there's not a lot that I would do differently. Here's what I will say too about MSU and the leadership that we've had. It's been very strong, and I've been very fortunate to work at a time at the institution where we've built new facilities. We've gone through times when it's been a struggle with budget cuts in 2008 and 2009, and even recently, and it's still, there's going to be some cuts, but the leadership at our institution has done that, has made transitions, they've made budget cuts, they haven't put a Band-Aid on things, they've been pretty transparent about it, and MSU has flourished because of that. So those people, those vice presidents and president of the university have done a really solid job. And I'll say it again, and they've done it the right way and for our students. We've made mistakes along the way, no doubt about it. We're not perfect. But I think we've had the leadership that have put students first to give them a good, affordable education. And it's worked. Yep. I've been blessed to work here. And I think I've given a lot to the institution too. Yeah. But it's not my doing. It's just other people, and it's hard work, and you surround yourself with good people, and good things can happen. Yeah. Been a good run.
Well, thank you, Todd. Thank you for this. It was very insightful. I was crying because I'm a crybaby.
That's
but
okay.
I hope that this was, you felt the love, you felt that everything that you gave was indeed noticed, and it impacted who it was supposed to impact. And this was just a way to say thank you from not only me, but from student government and every other person that you've interacted with.
I never would have expected this. This has really been neat, so thank you. This is wonderful. This is really neat. You know, I've told this story, not this in depth, but I've told this story many, many times over the years. My story of when it started and how I got to this. But you've taken me from then to really almost the end of my career. This has been really cool. I appreciate that. Just to have it documented, and you'll share it with me.
Yeah.
Because my wife and kids would love to see it. My family would too.
Will do. Will do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you.
Yay.